Well, salutations! Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening, wherever you find yourself orientated within this universe. And welcome back! Last time... Well, first of all, who we are. We are Ultrasonic Blur. We hope that you find yourself well. And if not, we hope whatever ails you can be dealt with quickly. And if not, well, we hope then, while being here, helps alleviate some of that. Last time! Oh boy, last time. So, where do we even begin with some of this? Well, that's a very good question. So, I mean, let's start at the basics. So, we were fighting on the idea that okay, maybe Detective Goodman was killed in the police studio. Oh, in the police evidence room. And that was great. That gave us like, oh, then he didn't die, then our client didn't do it. Yeah, that's fine. Apart from the fact that we then go ahead and prove that Officer Meekins... Meekins couldn't do that. Like, it's Meekins. There was no way Meekins could actually go ahead and do that. So, yeah, that whole shebang happened. So, then we're also like, hang on though, but there was a lot of blood spilled there in the evidence room. So when did that happen? And when did the bloody handprint get put there? And we were like, well, it couldn't possibly have been during the event because we can see that, well, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, the blue badger was there, so it couldn't have been then. But then that meant that someone was stabbed before that event happened. And now we're trying to work out who this 7777777 is, because they were in there, and it's kind of a mess. But we have our last day, so let's hope we can figure something out here. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said, and... Oh, yeah, that was the last thing. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. Yeah, that was not great. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. That's not really that great, yeah. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he was murdered... When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means that you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I did not see that one coming. Okay, well, it happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of year 2. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day. Unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office and... we were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up and... Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. But before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then... what happened then? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture? Ay, that's not great. And what did you see in this instant that the crime occurred? Dark knocked Mr. Marshall and knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. Ay, that's not great. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14? Yeah, that's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make it an airtight case. That way Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. I don't remember the moment when Darks stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why Lana... why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly, and Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did. Especially not to Emma. Something puzzling, though. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Yeah. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police, right? Of course. This happened at the police department, and he tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? That still doesn't make any sense. Because the detective's offices and the questioning rooms are right across from the elevator. Right. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. But why? She doesn't know the extent of the law the same way, and that doesn't make any sense. Lana used to be a detective, huh? I'd better have another talk with her. Well, to the detention center then. Hi, Lana. Lana? Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty and... Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transferal to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about the unusual change of jobs. I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright? Yeah. A lot of revelations were uncovered in that trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana! I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth! It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana! What the witness, Miss Starr, said! About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife! Lana! I don't understand! Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. Yeah, look at the face. She's not looking away to distance herself from us. She's looking away because she can't look at us. But why? It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing! They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gaunt cracked together. Chief Gaunt? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gaunt. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever! They solved crimes before the reports could even be filled! Emma really idolizes her big sister, huh? But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command, huh? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gaunt, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gaunt and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite, gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was just trying to save me from Dark, and... You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us? Damon Gaunt and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark at the time. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gaunt and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there he ran straight to the office shared by myself and the Deputy Chief Gaunt. That's where he found me, and... So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gaunt and Marshall were questioning Drake. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim Emma who had passed out, and the suspect Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. And what did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room and just held her. Well, I can't blame her, after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. So, let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. Quite a coincidence. Yeah, I don't buy it. What are you saying? Yeah, there's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark? Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gaunt and I shared. The office that Mr. Gaunt now occupies by himself. The Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office. The site of the final SL9 murder. Yeah. Well, good luck getting there. Let's see if we can find anything then. Maybe Gumshoe can help. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kinda quiet around here today. Yeah, you're right. The Chief of Detectives seems the same though. Why don't we go and look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. Alright, what have we got here then? Ah, Marshall. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall! I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But, Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was this one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Yeah. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me, neither. All the detectives thought so. And what do you mean, fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean the switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, alright. But, in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. And what does that mean? It means there was a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. Huh? However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that case investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in that tiny room. And what about Goodman? Well, if they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are they talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. The investigation led Damon Gant and his second-in-command. The investigation lead Damon Gant and his second-in-command, Lana Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Huh? Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secrets are too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret? It all started 2 years ago. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother, huh? The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. That was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have already gone by. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was already empty. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one that used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. He really was prepared to sacrifice everything for this. Oh, now I feel like a dick! Damn, that's unfortunate. Let's head towards the prosecutor's offices then. No one's here today, not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in that evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today on that day, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead it looks like we've just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Maybe we can talk with Edgeworth if he's around. Mr. Edgeworth isn't here. Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee? He took a real beating in court today, again. Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago, I guess we'll just have to come back later. Well, the only other place we can head then would be back inside the Criminal Affairs Department. This place is always pretty empty, but today is deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what we do with Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement in the media in tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office if possible. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything, and... Hey, you're right! No, you can't go in there! It's off limits! Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head up to the chief's office. Yeah, we'll be leaving now! Don't worry! Goodbye! Okay, were we followed? No one's followed us. We're fine, we're fine. Shh! No one needs to know. That is a very large organ. Okay. Whoa! Where am I? In the chief's office, silly! At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. Ow! Emma, I never could remember where C was. Oh, it's you two! Chief Gant, we were just, He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So righto! Have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall, huh? We took that to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. I see a couple of things. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd like to stay and have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it any further. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Oh boy. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us to look around in there. You mean like a clue? There's got to be a way we can get inside the chief's office. The only thing we have to go on is that 7777s, then we can investigate them. That's all we have. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm just taking a breather. My, feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you two seen Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? Hey, he's on a fire for both the police department and prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? It's basically what it all boils down to. They falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. Yeah. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye's the guilty party here, isn't she? The guilty party in forging evidence, not this case. Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who didn't like him. But now with this, there are so many people. There really are. Are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe that I know for making enemies. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problem with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file from earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seemed genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? Sure, the only evidence Doc left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean... Yeah, when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl. Me. Seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let me see. The thing that had something to do with the murder weapon. I forgot. Look, it's all in the written here. It is somewhere, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon? It might jog his memory. Let's try it. That's Edgeworth knife. Almost presented that one. That's the wrong one to present. About this. Hey, is that... It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of? Hey, what are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. And it was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it! Now I remember what the incriminating piece of evidence was. Well, you show me that knife and I'll get back to me. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget! This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right, pal. We traced it back to the storyboard of that, plus it has his fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well, anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. That was found deep inside the stab wound. And did it match? Ah, salutations, sunshine. It's very good to see you again. We hope that you find yourself well, and thank you very much for the continued signal boost. It is greatly appreciated. Yeah, we're just trying to get to the bottom of this case and try and figure things out. You have not missed much. Oh, you bet. Down to the last fiber. Well, that's pretty conclusive. Stabbed in the back, died from a punctured heart and lung. A knife tip was found in the wound. Alright. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him decide to take up serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So, it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. A kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. And the bodies, and there was a jogger at the scene, and he killed them as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Yeah, of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. He killed everyone who had any evidence, and then he ate it. So he turned himself in. Yeah, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Doc was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. Yeah, that last witness. AKA Emma. Well, there you have it, in a nutshell. That's all I know. Could I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should have Chief's guard about that. It's not money, but it does actually concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where the prosecutor, Neil Marshall, was murdered. The Chief's out now, and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around, if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What? Really? Yeah, but if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. Wait. No. We don't have any detectives cards otherwise, damn. I wonder if there was something we could do to show him that would make him change his mind. Not that I can think of. Speaking of the prosecutor's office, maybe we can talk to Edgeworth, something like that. It's the only person we haven't seen yet. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is! It looks like he's writing something. What are you doing in here? Sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live with the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So, what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do to ease that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. The fact remains the same no matter what excuse as I might have. Mr. Edgeworth. I take pride in my work. So tell me why! Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered? You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this, right? Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You've finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends. Clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes. It was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday, right? So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. What about tomorrow? Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, and now this one. Seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial! Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long as this. It's only half as long as most lists? Yeah, that is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture... Something seems strange about it, but... We do have that picture, yes. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He'd just started making a name for himself. Looks like it was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes? The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding, it's a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. I remember now. You remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. It's what the award's based on. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. Are we getting ooh, this could be fun. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written as with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Ah, it's an etymology lesson. Fantastic. Me? Oh, sure, yeah, everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though, for Emma's sake? Very well. Just sly winks at the camera. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute! Those claims contradict each other! Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. That's pretty cool! Oh, I see! So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow! Thanks, Mr. Edgeworth! I learned something new today! That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gaunt. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gaunt, huh? Why? Wait. No! 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 You could... Sunshine, we require your, expertise on the construction of the human body. Would it be possible to stab someone through the chest, pierce a lung and the heart using that, like, that halberd tip thing? 'Cause it doesn't look... stabbed in the back, no! Blood loss and assessment died from blood loss, stabbed in the heart, pierced the heart and lung, and then bled out. Couldn't breathe. Jeez, that is. We're gonna hope the death was instantaneous, but assessment died in under 10 minutes. Can under 10 minutes be 0 minutes, please? Because otherwise, if you go in under the xiphoid, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Though... Wait. Can we rotate this? We can. This is that. Interesting. So this is that. Ah, very nice. Anyway, do we have anything else to present? Right, please. I'm the prosecutor on this case. You don't expect me to sit here and discuss the case with you over a cup of tea. I'll pass on the tea. Just tell me about the case. Yes, we've had this one before. Maybe if I just show him the best evidence, I can get some reactions out of him. Yeah, we haven't got anything else then. That said, could we look at this? I wonder what he was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's just take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Just distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe on the window there? Oh no! He's falling to the ground! Hold on. First let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. He didn't even look. What? Letter of... If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says, letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died. But, Mr. Edgeworth, none of this is your fault! I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. No one else should forgive me either. Oh, I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation. I wonder if I could use it for anything. Well, we'll just take a hold of it. Well, you may have given up, but I haven't. Let's see what else we've got then. Excuse me? Ah, Miss Starr. Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Miss Starr! I guess she's out of lunches, huh? You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. I mean, it's less curiosity about sucking it and more a case of we would assume seeing a calf suckle it and go, why does a calf do that? And then, as a result, giving that. So that would be our assumption on it. But then again, yeah, we kind of get what you're going up against. Yeah, everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence of that case was due for transferal. This can't be attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savoured when eaten. Miss Starr's hatred towards Lana, it all dates back to 2 years ago, doesn't it? Joe Dark. It's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though. Must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye. My sister? The best of the best were put on the SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gaunt. Damon Gaunt and Lana Skye. Gaunt led the investigation, while with Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gaunt's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He'd produce the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence? You mean... Oh yes, there was rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him though. I take it she's talking about that forged evidence. Back then everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be just like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall? When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have ever recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up on our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. You mean with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you don't have any proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties, most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used. Huh? Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gaunt's powerful influence. Chief... That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control. And then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. So, wait. This is Garn manipulating everything, but why would he manipulate? How does he have anything on Lana? Lana has nothing to gain from this. Unless it's just moving to that position in the first place, but Lana would have happily just moved on her own. There's something else here. What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred in the first place? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office as a whole. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I am finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Thank you. Thank you. We need to get in there. Maybe we can talk to Gumshoe. Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ! I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. Huh? I'm not letting you into the chief's office, period. That'd be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look inside there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Yeah, we have something. Hey, what's this crumpled up piece of paper? Huh? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious! Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they've pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. But I know I'm different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him. Detective. That's it. I've made up my mind. But... Here, take my ID card. We can't do that. If someone found out, then... they wouldn't let you be off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So, at least let me do this. For Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, detective. Thank you. This is rough. Alright. Let's head back up to that office then. Here goes, Mr. Wright. Okay, now let's just hope there's no record of this, or else we're in trouble. We're in! If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner. If it helps, I'm counting on you to bail, and if that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. That's the second time you've done that, miss. Sorry. I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. It's Detective Gumshoe! What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too. And if you're here, then what was the point of giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card! Oh, sorry, Gumshoe. You're an idiot, though.
I hardly ever get a chance to come in here. So I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now.
You really do want to get fired, don't you?
Not if we're lucky. Come on now, let's just see what we can find.
I've got a bad feeling about this. Alright, let's see what we can find. Let's start... Well, what can we start with, really? Let's try the desks. Wow! Look at the size of Chief Gant's desk! Speaking of that, when we were here earlier...
Oh, it's you two.
Yes. I wonder what he was reading.
This looks like a list of evidence.
A list of evidence?
In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though.
Hey, look at the case name!
Huh? Hey, it's the SL9 incident. I wonder what's this is doing here.
Hold on, detective. What did you just say?
I said, I wonder what...
No, about the evidence lists. Normally they're twice as long as this.
That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence.
A half-size list of evidence. This list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. What would the other half of the list be doing here? Why are we assuming it's the other half and not just a copy of it? I knew it! The chief must be hiding something about that case! It would appear so. It was ripped in half, so this part is all I've got. Oh. Let's have a look at it then, shall we? No, nothing about it. Is it only one side? Oh! Hello! That's a thing! I wonder what this is. Looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here? What is it? Did you find something? I can't make it out. I better be quiet about it for now. Huh? Oh, no, it's nothing. Why are your eyes moving about like that, Mr. Wright? I better not forget about this picture, though. This is what Emma drew? This is what Emma saw, right? On the back of one of the evidence sheets. Interesting. We were planning to just look at that and see whether or not there was anything on it, like... weird. What else can we look at? Well, we've got the organ, so let's look at that.
The chief's organ sure is a sight to behold.
Let's not. There's some knowledge that we don't need to know.
Occasionally we hear a plague from the Criminal Affairs Department.
That's on the 2nd floor, and this is on the 15th floor of an entirely different building!
When a detective screws up, the chief calls them to his office. That makes them listen to the organ for hours,
So he just deafens them? What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul.
After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except for the ringing in their ears.
So it's an instrument of punishment. Literally. But aren't the chief's ears affected?
He never listens to anyone anyway.
That's besides the point. What else have we got then? No clues here. We had this. Oh, the safe. This is a safe, isn't it?
Safe. That word's ripe with intrigue.
Okay, if you say so. It looks like a code is needed to enter this, to be entered on this panel to open it. A 7-digit number. I think I just might know what it is.
Hey, do you know what it is?
I have a hunch.
Oh, I know. Do you want to try my birth date? It's,
I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Well, we have too many coincidences. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Code confirmed, access granted. Bingo. What number did you enter?
Whose birthday is that, pal?
7777777. The final ID card number on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day.
You mean 777777? That ID number?
I think you're 1 7 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gaunt's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Alright. Let's do that then. What have we got in it?
Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away?
Look, it's
It's a shot from a broken cup.
This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? There's something else here too. Huh? What's this? Looks like a piece of leather cloth. This is a handprint, isn't it?
Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made the design?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, it was just a thought.
Is that it? Is that all there was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now.
Hey, a piece of cloth with a handprint on it. And a broken shot from a cup.
They look like pieces of evidence.
Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here.
Great. Now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on! There's got to be something we can show the detective. Well, yeah, there's a very easy thing. First things first, we can present this. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar?
I remember when the three of us put that back together. Those were the days.
It's kind of eerily early to be being nostalgic. Wasn't that, this jar a piece of evidence from that case?
Hey, that's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it.
Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found?
Oh, you mean this one that was in the safe?
Yes, that one. That was in the safe.
Ah. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits.
Assemble the fragments. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this.
Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie could do.
Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, it'll prove Chief Gaunt was knowingly hiding evidence. Please, here goes. There! It fits just like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gaunt willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But...
Hey, guys, got a load of this.
What is it?
This piece you just attached. It's different from the others.
Huh? There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line? That's blood!
I don't get it. Why would Chief Gaunt hide this in his safe?
This doesn't make any sense either, you're right. That desk on the other side of the room, was that your sister's? Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now?
No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gaunt's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene.
It's a strange reason to leave it there.
He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time.
I see. So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk?
No one except Chief Gaunt. And the cleaning lady who's in here each morning.
Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining.
Can I ask you guys something?
Sure.
You only came in here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's the only reason for coming in here, isn't it?
Why do you ask?
You don't think, nah, you wouldn't be, nah. Nah, there's no way. Never mind, don't worry about it.
Okay, now then let's look around a bit more.
Hey, hold on, not so fast, buddy.
Huh? What is it?
When someone tells you don't worry about it, you're supposed to start bothering your pal. You don't just let it go at that.
Sorry. This guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you?
Well, you two don't think, Chief Garrett, he might be a suspect, do you?
What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I really think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings. Yet.
There you go again, ignoring me.
Yeah. Yeah, we've already looked at the safe. Is there anything else? We got a phone here? No clues here. What about here? Wow! Look at the size of the Chief Gant's desk! We found this inside the drawer. It's a list of evidence from the SL9 incident. Mr. Edgeworth had the other half of that list, right? What would this list be doing here? We'd better look a little further more into this. Also, we have a suit of armor? This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons?
Sure is, pal. The chief doesn't care for imitations.
First the pipe organ and now this armor? Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room? What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it! I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes! Very good idea. You don't have any taxes to pay, Emma.
Shh! Be careful what you say. Who knows? The chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak.
I don't think he'd fit in there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out.
Cut it out. You don't know, guys, how scary that guy could be.
You're right, we don't. Can we look at the evidence again? No, we wanna look at that other piece of evidence then.
I feel a lot better now that this jar's complete.
But it only raises another question. What was a piece of it doing in the chief's safe?
Very importantly, why wasn't there any money in there? Isn't that what safes are for anyway?
No, for important things. I have a feeling the outcome of tomorrow's trial just might hinge on this. Yeah. But there's one important thing. If you look at this, you can almost connect the dots. So you've got like here to here, here to here, here to here. You can spell Emma from this. The problem is that why are the dots not rubbed away? If you were going to rub away all of it, if you were going to rub it away, why would you not rub away all of it? Something doesn't make sense. Also, why is Emma's name on this thing in the first place? That also doesn't make sense. Something's very fishy here. This was Lana's desk. It sure is tidy. Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner. There's not even any dust on it. It's like someone's still keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here?
Nah. Chief Garrett must still keep it clean as a memory of their partnership. Say what the stuff of legends are made of.
Does he keep it in memory of her or in memory of the crime? Yeah, look, that pot is in here. This was taken on that day 2 years ago. The day Joe Dark ran out of the questioning room and tried to kill Emma.
After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here. Then they went along with Chief Garrett to question Jake. I bet he never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later.
No one would know they were dead a few hours later. That doesn't make any sense. Gee, you think? Is there anything else? These shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. Small picture frame on the left shelf. Hey! This is when Lana and I went to that theme park.
Oh, look at that giant window. Makes you want to crash through it and jump outside.
This is the 15th floor.
Yeah, I know that. I was just saying, you know.
Saying what?
Ever since being a detective, I've always dreamed about doing something like that.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams. So long as he doesn't go crashing through that window when he gets fired. Don't say that! Anything? This mark looks like some kind of flower.
But it is, it's designed after the insignia on the prosecutor's badge.
Prosecutor's badge?
Yeah, like the one hanging from your collar.
What? They have badges too? Oh, I thought I was special.
The design's supposed to portray the serenity of the punishment system.
Now that you mention it, it does look like pointy and kind of painful. Mr. Edgeworth never wears a badge.
That's because he's a sharp dresser. A badge like that wouldn't go too well with his outfit.
So sharp dressers don't need to wear badges?
I guess everyone just kinda let it slide.
I don't see how that's supposed to signify severe punishment, though. Maybe we can test for luminol? Yeah, maybe we can use it. That would be the only thing we could do left, right? Would be checking for luminol testing fluid. Whoops. Spray, yeah? Anything on the floor? Anything on the desk? No one impaled on this? Nope. Good. What about over here? Anything over here? Whoa! Hello! Whoa! This area must have been covered in blood! Is this from that incident? It must be! When Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. 2 years have passed, so the reaction's kinda dull. So a murder really did take place here. Is there anything else we actually have left to examine in here? We've just got that stuff that was in there. No. That's what the chief was reading before, wasn't it? You know, when we first came in here? Yeah, it looks like the right side of the form's been torn off. So, Mr. Edgeworth, this really was only half of the whole thing.
Something else is bugging me more than that. Take a look at the back of the front, pal.
The back? Yeah, we looked at this. Yeah, we've done that.
I've been studying up on those files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth's presentation. To think people are accusing him just of it is just injustice. Well, I for one ain't buying it, pal.
You're looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth?
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal while it was going on, you know. After all, the serial killer was on the loose.
Yeah, but Lana was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty. Can we look in the safe again? Yeah. I would like to see what else is in the damn safe. Because there was another thing in the safe, wasn't there? But we don't have that. Yeah, so that's why I have to give you all this is about. You understand, don't you?
Oh, my folly. I've never had anything useful to share with you with.
Yeah. What else have we got then? Is there anything else? Can we use these fingerprints? No, we can't use it, can we? No? Okay. Yeah. Can we look at the back of this now? Do we have to check the back of it now or something? No, we've already done that. Check. Stab wound. No, that wasn't particularly grand. But what else then? Check. Hey, look here! It's hard to make out, but there's a dark red stain here. Looks like blood. This piece of Chief Gant's is different, though. The bloodstains on the other pieces are just spots. But this one's a line. That's odd. Yeah, that's really weird. Yeah. No, we've already done everything on that then. What are we missing? Something's being missed here. No, we've just done that. Yeah, we've done that. Yeah, so we've looked at that. What else is there? Marshall's fingerprints are useless. The security video is pretty useless. That's useless here. That's useless here. ID card evidence. What if we present this? It's the ID record card. Is it ID card record, isn't it? Yes. There's only one number left to investigate. At 4:20 p.m., the victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with someone else. Someone with an executive officer number. 77777777. That's 17 too many, Detective. An executive officer. I just might have a hunch. Can we? No. Court record. No, we can't. She's the top dog in the PD. No, we can't. What else have we got to present to you? This? This guy almost made us lose the case today. What are you talking about? He was guarding the bloodstain on that evidence locker with his life. That's more than you could say about most officers nowadays. It would have saved us a lot of trouble if he hadn't guarded it quite so well. I have to admit, he's right though. Thanks to the Blue Badger, we were able to prove another possibility today. The possibility that another murder took place prior to 5:15 p.m. Yeah. Yeah. Nope. That's fine. It's not you. Anything at all we can present to you. This knife belonged to the murderer Joe Dark, right? You bet. If it wasn't for that piece of evidence, he would have been found guilty. The broken tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. Ever since that case was solved, this knife's been in Detective Goodman's locker. Well, how could it have possibly gotten to Mr. Edgeworth's car? Not only that, but it was wrapped in Lana's scarf. What's even more mysterious is whether that's called a scarf or a muffler. Answer me that, pal! Just present everything. Worst comes to worst. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints, huh? That's a great idea, Detective. Alright, got it down. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that? Go ahead. Take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Come on, this isn't time for the jokes. We're talking about the cloth we found in the safe. Oh, yeah, I knew that. The one with the right handprint on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humor, pal? Something tells me that wasn't a sense of humor thing. Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then, once they've been absorbed by the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mother? I don't have to be told this a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. Let's pick an easy print. This one looks pretty good. Yeah. This should be pretty good. We've got a clear print. It's very clear, which is very nice for us. And then just sprinkle that. But whose is it, though? No. No. That looks like a match. Whose is the... This is Emma's? What? Why is Emma's handprint here? No. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they? Huh? Oh, seems like the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a good match. Oh, that's too bad. I really thought they'd be Drake's prints, or Dark's prints. Psst. Hey, you. Over here. Huh? What's up, detective? What's going on here? What are the kids' prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now, okay? Yeah. Maybe you should hold on to this. Sure. But what? It's just a piece of cloth? No idea why. Well, was I of any help, pal? Of course! Thanks for your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat? Chief Cat! We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and I saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then I thought of a certain detective. You mean, me, sir. Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Oh, you in the coat? Me, sir. Drop off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But, sir... Now get out. Yes, sir. Great. We'll be on our way too, then. Wait, you, the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet. Me, sir? I'd like a word with you. But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. You with the spiky hair, you're free to go. Mr. Wright! Uh-oh. Look, pal, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gaunt was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture here. But why was she kept eerily silent about it all this time? Anyway, you listen to me! I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the Chief again. Later, pal. Yeah, good luck with that. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. Alright then. Well. I see. So the chief asked for Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day. I've committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over the past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really? I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Wait. She said she stabbed him. She didn't say she killed him. Subtle word difference there, but she said she stabbed him. Huh. Wait. Okay, hear us out on this. Hear us out. So, at 4:20, they walk. Both Detective Goodman and Chief of Police Gant go into the evidence room. Something happens between the two of them. We're not sure just what it is yet, but that's not important. There's an altercation that ends up happening in which Detective Goodman is stabbed. At that point, now the Chief of Police Gant has to get rid of the evidence. He calls Edgeworth and Lana. He calls Lana and Edgeworth. Lana he calls first to try to tell him his plan, which is to say that she stabbed Goodman in the prosecutor's office. We then have Edgeworth. Now, why do I say Edgeworth? Edgeworth is asked by the police, the chief of police, in order to bring back a piece of evidence that has, like, no relevance whatsoever to anything. That we can see in the court record. If we have a look, we've got this piece of evidence here. So, Edgeworth drives back to the police station, gets this, and then drives back. Now, if Edgeworth does that, that means that at that point, Edgeworth is at the police station. So, the body of Goodman is stuffed into his trunk. Lana's waiting at the office. She's there, pulls him out from the office, from the trunk at the parking station, and kills him. That's the idea, right? That's so she looks like she killed him. She then calls Emma and talking about the muffler. The problem is what is it that's the big thing that's currently of the question is why would Lana go through with this? That's the only thing that's still puzzling us. And the only thing that can be thought of is something to do with with that final scene of what happened. The fact that this pot says Emma on it. The fact that Chief Gant was holding it. The fact that the Chief is Wait. Wait a minute. No, not the evidence list. This. Is this the right colour? This might be This looks like the colour of... Take a look at the like jacket thing that Neil Marshall is wearing. It's this tan brown leather, similar to that cowboy style like his brother would wear. So if this bears Emma's handprint on it, what happened? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Oh, Lana, you didn't. Lana. We think we've got this worked out, but Lana, you've got to trust us now. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe. Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say? So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No, I think you're afraid of is more like it. No, that's a slip. That's a slip. Lana is thinking of someone who she is protecting. She's not afraid of that person. She's afraid of what someone else will do and what will happen to the person she's protecting. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, whom may I ask is this person you're speaking of? The one I'm supposedly so frightened of. What is this person's name? Well, Miss Skye? Mr. Wright, you are addressing the Chief Prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a little bit about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he is as respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offences. Why is it, though, that Chief Gaunt's name was never mentioned once? Chief Gaunt? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also one other, Damon Gaunt. He was lead. If you intend to accuse Chief Gaunt, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gaunt falsified evidence in that crime scene. I just found this in a safe in the Chief's office. This jar piece, this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gaunt himself. Now tell me, why are you taking the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you summarized. I cannot disobey the Chief's orders. Even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate. In the murder of Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of the body of Bruce Goodman. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon was still while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the SL9 incident? The serial killer Joe Dark's knife! I couldn't just leave that knife in him. So I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Mr. Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him, and that's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that's the reason for the bandage on your right hand? Yes. It seems that I've got blood on the victim's shoe as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Miss Starr, huh? Interesting, so that's why you changed the wound. Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that, by whatever means possible. So you hid Dark's knife then? The weapon used to stab Detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it? In Edgeworth's exhaust pipe, but... Right. Then I called my sister. To tell her what happened and to ask her to hide that knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma was so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling? The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least, I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seemed that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean... Not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He'd already stolen the ID card, but it seemed he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. That's why he went in there with Gant! Gant would have gone in there, he would never have put his own number down there! Marshall! That's the one last thing that was relevant there. Why would Goodman use his own card? Why would he put a paper trail there with Bruce Goodman? Because Bruce Goodman physically couldn't. That's why he did it. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have just disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room? I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the Chief's own office 2 years ago. Well, looks like we have to find out what's happening and what's going on. Let's hope we can clear that up. I've got a long way to go. But hopefully this is the last time we have to come here. This is the defendant lobby, alright. But there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where should she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth? Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 77's ID number is, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, Wright, and Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gaunt has on her, it's now. But where's Emma?
The court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
Normally, this is where the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make.
Chief Gaunt?
Morning, folks! How's everyone doing? Hey, RG, been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Ha! That's a good one. Don't think I could top that.
If you don't mind me asking, Chief, what exactly is this proposal of yours?
Well, Lana, that is to say the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court.
She wants to do what?
Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble.
What have you strong-armed her into doing? What's all this about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished.
Well then, what's your request?
Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial.
Huh?
I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana! You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But, Lana... Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please.
Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise.
This can't be happening!
It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye...
One moment, Your Honor.
Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature.
Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut,
I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gaunt. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes.
Some kind of deal,
Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness.
Oh? To whom?
As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye.
I request the court hears her testimony. Hold it. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it.
Very well. The court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gaunt?
Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Let's see what we get out of this then. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation, I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time.
Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is this incident that was resolved 2 years ago really that relevant?
Yes, it most certainly is.
Well, okay then.
He sure gave in fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip of yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. You're still not the... You're still not the one prosecuting, though. That's Lana Skye at this point. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Your Marshal rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. Nope, couldn't have.
It's a good thing you weren't harmed.
I passed out. I don't remember much.
That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder?
That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence.
Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
Oh, I guess that is still us. Fantastic! Right, okay. 2 years ago. Let's see what happens. You were not... a man came running in. We know for a fact that it was the man stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. Didn't stab him in the chest at all. That is a complete lie. He died in the... He was stabbed in the back. Where is it? Punctured, stabbed in the back. What? Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. Apparently it doesn't.
It does. It doesn't seem anything contradictory.
Huh? Really?
Objection overruled. Try to think before you make an accusation, Mr. Wright.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, we thought we could put this one to bed easily. Oops, that didn't go so well. That must have been a real shock. Even now when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. Tell us, what were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage. When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. I was thrown aside and the two began to wrestle with each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie, but Lana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. Great, okay. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? Yes, she was second in command under the deputy chief of police, Gaunt.
My sister, she was the best detective ever.
Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Skye used to be quite the pair.
I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man came running in and took me hostage. A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was, a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on that day of the ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest.
When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right?
Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Skye and Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. Neil Marshy rescued me. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were two people present during Dark's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Almost forgot about Gant. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony.
I assume that would be why he was the first to run after Dark.
When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in. I don't clearly remember what happened then, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark, and just then, the lights went out.
The lights?
It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out.
Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right?
Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash of an unforgivable image of the scene in my mind.
I see.
I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman what you saw? Yes, but at the time the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before.
Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough?
Ask about the picture. This picture the witness drew. I believe this is a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture.
Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. It has not been lost. Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put up all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet, you would insist on denying its existence? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold!
This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident.
Please turn it over, Your Honor.
Turn it over?
Turn it.
What's this?
Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it! That's the picture I drew!
Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here.
What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that.
Huh? These lists, they're different from each other.
What?
It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You could see the markers here from where they were torn apart from each other.
So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? Well, that's not great.
Order! Well, Miss Skye, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list?
Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor!
Are you all right, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head.
If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more on the drawing of the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list.
Yes, that's quite conceivable. Mr. Edgeworth?
It's possible. Let's see.
Is something wrong?
Do you even have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing. What the fuck?
That's... that thing! It's that thing that was dancing in the evidence room!
Clearly, this is an act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. What? But it can't be.
Very well. Witness, will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seems to be thinking about something when she was looking at that picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright I could see there were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant.
To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind.
Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she drew.
Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Something's wrong, though. Something's not quite fitting here. It's the picture you drew. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gaunt and Lana Skye. 2 or 3 days later, huh? The memory should still have been fresh in her mind then.
Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black?
Flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. So at that time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. There was the lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor? Dark had such a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt.
What happened after the lightning flashed?
After that, I must have fainted. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry.
The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further?
What? I'm not the bad guy here! Anyway, this picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Sorry for asking you so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course! This is the exact scene! It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives?
Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, right?
No, of course not! I'd better watch out. We might find a way to somehow cut my salary even further. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me.
Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture?
Huh? Oh, well... That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was first imprinted in her mind, and yet... there's clearly a contradiction here. Yeah. Something's wrong, because that's not a knife. Right? There's definitely something wrong with this picture. It's the fact that there's not a pointed knife, right? There's a couple of things. One, the person is clearly on their front. You can see that by the way their knees are bent, by the way that their hand is in front of them. They're faced from the front, which doesn't make sense because Marshall was stabbed in the back. And B, that knife doesn't make sense. No, it's not that one. Damn it. Okay. I could see nothing faulty. It's definitely that then. Maybe it's the fact that it's in her back. He was stabbed in the back. That's got to be the only option, right? Like, it's got to be that. Because... shows exactly what I saw that instant. That's strange. She claims it's over, and yet there's clearly a contradiction here. Okay. Let's see then. Right? This was that instant. The instant of what, right? It's gotta be that, right? About the picture, right? Yeah, it's gotta be the autopsy report. Yeah, there we go. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture that the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday!
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report?
That would be the fact that the victim is facing forward? Or would it be the fact that it's the knife tip? Like... yeah, like, it's gotta be the... like, the knife tip
The autopsy said that the knife tip was found in his back. But if we're saying here that the knife tip doesn't exist, then... What? Something doesn't make sense. How would he be standing with the knife or kneeling like that? Like, he was stabbed once, and the knife tip was found in his back, so this doesn't make sense. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken.
Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright.
But, Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too.
If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off inside the victim's body.
It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken!
What is the meaning of this?
Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there!
That's right, but what does this mean?
The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure that she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, Wright. All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No.
Order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted?
Your Honor, please allow me once again to go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there is no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife.
What are the chances of there being two broken knives?
Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's? Could there have been one? No, there is another one. If the witness in this is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright? In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife.
I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife? If so, please feel free to enlighten us.
The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. That's the only way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. Another broken knife. But that brings a very big issue into this whole thing. If that's the broken knife, who's the one holding it? Who's the one holding that knife right there? Who's the one holding it? No. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture after the... This is a picture of the awards ceremony.
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding? That's a broken knife! As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award!
Order! Order! Order!
Neil Marshall was awarded the King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife, halberd, spear tip, whatever. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in the dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean... this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh! Fuck!
But the prosecutor was the one who actually died!
That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Hold it! Wait! I remember now. I remember everything!
Witness?
Mr. Edgeworth! What is this? Could you show me your evidence list again, please?
His list? The one with that picture scribbled on its back?
Yeah, I knew it! This picture... I'm the one who drew it! What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. Why? 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 All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside of me.
Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you like to please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye?
Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. Emma's recollection. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow.
This is certainly most unusual.
Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago.
Well, yes, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Stop! Please! Don't pursue this any further! Lana?
What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair.
But you can't do this! I've already confessed to the crime! Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back.
Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant.
Seems like we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Right. I saw the man raise his knife. I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked the man away with his knife.
It's just then I saw another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Yeah, we gotta press this stuff. Like, we've gotta press this. I think I knocked away my man with a knife. Do you know who you knocked away? Oh, boy. Hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. We have a handprint. We have a man knocked away. Oh, boy. I think I knocked the man away with the knife. Let's press this. What do you mean, you think?
This might be involuntary manslaughter. That's what I think, Phoenix, but let's hope it's not.
It all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it's all kind of a blur. Miss Skye was almost killed before she was a witness to a murder about to take place. With so much happening, it's a matter of seconds. A little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife.
What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next?
Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. Are you sure about this? Of course! See? I even drew a picture of him here. But it was the chief of detectives who thought this up, this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The blue badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite variable. I know it sounds strange, but I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before, somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother. Just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion.
Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing?
He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. It had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important here is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh? And I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then by all means, please tell us what this shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when that lightning flashed? Who is this blue badger really? I think I might know. The blue badger hadn't even been dreamt up when Emma drew this picture. Yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on this fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright?
In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that this witness saw in this instant? Please show us this mysterious badger look-alike.
Let us go ahead. There is something very strange here. What if we just flip this upside down and then try and sort of wiggle it a bit? No, other way. Look at this. Look at this. If you can wiggle this around the right way, you can kind of wiggle it to being the right direction. And then, look at that. Look at that. You see what I see? See what I see? You see what I see? I see the blue badger. Fuck you, perspective. What the fuck does any of this mean? The mysterious blue badger was in fact this.
But that's... what exactly is that?
I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Did nobody else see what I just did? Oh, I'll do it again then, fine. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. Unusually shaped and very top-heavy, but a jar nonetheless. However,
What if we were to change our viewpoint?
Our viewpoint?
I've got to show them
The correct angle to this... Oh, why with this music? Why does it have to have this music? Okay. Come on then, Blue Badger. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. How are we doing this? We gotta sort of spin this, angle it around a little bit. We'll just get the horns in the right spot for now. That'd be great. So let's get the horns. Let's get it sort of rotated. Oh, other way, other way, other way, other way, other way. There we go. Like that. And then like that. Something like that. Does that work? Will that work? This isn't right. I gotta look more like the badger. Allow me to remind the defense its case hinges on the witness's drawing. If Mr. Wright can't match the shape the witness drew, then we cannot accept his claim. What do you mean that's the same thing? Okay, let's do this. Oh, why'd you reset it? Oh. Okay. Well, let's try and get this thing to look like the... Right. Right, let's just spin this damn thing. It doesn't work very well, but it's okay. We're slowly getting there. We just spin it like this for a bit, and it slowly gets the, There we go, right. So that's that shape. And then it wants to look something like this. Something like this. Is that good enough? Is that good enough? Are you happy now, game? Nope, apparently not. Well... Okay, let's see what this... Let's just rotate you like that, and then spin it around perfectly like this, and then like this, and then like this, and like this. Why does everyone have the ability to not be able to see this basic shit? Yeah, we'll get there, we'll get there, we'll get there, we'll get there, we'll get there. Do you want me to make it to look like this? Something like this, perhaps? Is that good enough? Wait, is that going the right way? No, it's this way we need to shake it. Okay. Shake it this way. Shake it this way. Let's go. Like that? Is that good enough? Come on, that's gotta look like it now. That is not right, apparently. I think we're experiencing what you would understand as an aneurysm. It's okay. Let us try and get this jar to look something like this. That's what we have to do. We'll be fine. Let's just... We know it's gotta be this way. It's gotta look like this. And now, how do we make you look like that? How do we do that, huh? We need to wing it around this way. And that'll slowly raise that bottom bit up a bit. And that's fine. We can wing it and wing it and wing it and wing it. Still not quite there, so let's get pretty picky about this. No, now it needs to go the other way a bit. Like that. No, that's too much. Does that work? Does that work? Are we happy to accept this? What do you mean that wasn't right? What do you mean that's not right? Okay. Okay, we're okay. Everything's fine. This is fine. We'll make it eventually. How are we looking? 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 We can do this. We can do this, right? No, maybe this way a bit. Right. How do you want me to make this look? Something like that? That's gotta be it. Come on!
What is wrong with this? We're actually going to just have an aneurysm at this point. That would be the smartest thing to do. Let's just, okay. Maybe we can. Okay. 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 Right. It's so difficult to reset the rotate. Wait, we can. Oh my. Are you kidding? We did not see that. Okay. That would have been super helpful. Does it look something like that? Maybe. Maybe we can spin the handle a little bit. Like this. Does that look right? Please? Please? Why is that not right? Come on! It's okay. We'll get there. We will get this. Why we have to be the only person who has any concept and understanding of this, we don't know, but whatever. Right. Now I just need to push it slowly up, slowly up, slowly up. Okay, this works. Like this. Like that. Like that. Does that work? Hang on. We just slowly tilt it. Like that. 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 Yes! Is this a miracle or what? It's the same fucking shape. No one can possibly deny this child's resemblance to the blue badger. No. No, it can't be. Well, that was a nightmare over and dealt with. Order! Order!
Stop crying. The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this.
Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? I'd like to know that as well now. What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything! Indeed. Very well then, please tell us. What's different from now? We know from the witness. What's different now that we know where the witness saw this jar? The location. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar?
Where?
The location of the jar is shown in a particular picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on the shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is in these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason.
Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? That also seemed very much like some circular logic. If this happened, then there must have been a... If this happened, why would no one... You wouldn't do this if there wasn't a reason. Therefore, because it happened, it must have had a reason, rather than assuming that that did indeed happen in the first place.
I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instance, the jar that hit was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying?
That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. Yeah. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf and jar, direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit?
The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword, or spear.
Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No. Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking... Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room.
Another possibility?
Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless... I don't know if I can actually go through with this.
Mr. Wright, what's the matter?
If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Skye knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Ooh. Yeah, we, yeah. Emma? You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Yeah, that's what we thought would happen. That's bad. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this.
So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented.
This also might not be true. Objection! What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Skye, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Prosecutor Marshall. How could you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin this crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you have any kind of belief in your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves that my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? Yes. I'm willing to bet you don't.
Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this without evidence.
If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. No, you can. You can. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touché, Miss Skye. Of course. That only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility?
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. Oh, it's confirmed he didn't die instantly.
He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. In one manner or another. That's impossible.
Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only other possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist?
Sadly, it does. I've got to think back to the court record. Yes. Well, we've already proven out that the everything was super close together. Within arm's reach, perhaps. With, this horrible, haunting blood splatter. Yeah. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, would you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be.
Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased.
Well, there's only one that we've got. This is the message left by the deceased.
This is that blue badger from before, right?
Oh, is he just going to speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgetting that this is just a jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar.
What do you mean?
If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice. For some reason, the blood of some of these fragments was not wiped away. Perhaps this is where they started each stroke that they made.
Yes, there is a line here, drawn in blood.
So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have been seeped into the jar where the lines changed direction. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points. And the victim's message will become apparent. No.
Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us?
Your Honor, I believe the bloodstains will reveal the answer. We've just got to connect them and make them letters. There's only one thing that the victim would have written to given the circumstances. His murderer's name. Okay. E. Yep. E. M. And we can't put a line there. And then finally that. E-M-A. Emma. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocent. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So, this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. You knew this. That's what Gon has on you, isn't it?
Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life
was Emma Skye. Seaworthy! Can't say I didn't warn you! Chief Gaunt, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder.
I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not?
Yes, Worthy.
Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order! 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 Gravel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where is this trial headed? No one knows. But one thing's for sure. It's fucking over Edgeworth! Every single step of the way! Oh, we can't stop now. We've got too much more to see. Too much more to see. Let's keep going. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble again. Don't worry about it. That's my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pal. Yeah. Oh, guess I am. I'll just come back later then. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? Oh, you've got a lot of nerve, pal. Making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it all off, you called me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Whoa, deja vu. I take it Lana's having you run errands again? Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Yeah, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break at today's trial. Evidence law? I just was talking about this just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Yep. But Rule 2 is that any evidence undone in that way must have been shown to be relevant. Right? The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him? I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read, eh? From Miss Sky explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. Why not? Why? No evidence shall be presented without the approval of the police department, but unregistered evidence may be presented, but it must be relevant to the case on trial. Okay. Good to know. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentencing. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth? The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? Well, what else is there left to do, pal? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence that you're unaware of. Emma Sky found out she unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me that you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal! You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She's merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose him. No matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end.
will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor.
The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions.
Thank you for the news, Your Honor.
Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have,
struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses?
I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and...
Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution.
A solution?
That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses.
What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing.
Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. It won't prove that I haven't struck any deals with the defense attorney, but that's a different point.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say?
Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal.
Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness.
Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... It's finally come to bring out the real murder. Damon Gant! The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand.
Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything?
As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant had first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about this. As luck would have it, he should still be here in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor?
True. All right. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Damon Gant to the stand.
Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to get lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh?
Please, Mr. Gant.
Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto! What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a chief police has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is this true?
I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify.
Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Oh, don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you.
Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. As I recall, Neil and I were...
Sorry. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery.
Is that when Dark was arrested?
Him! He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head.
I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut.
If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Yeah. Okay. I think by that they're trying to argue. Phoenix is saying, don't waste time pressing. And I think we have the right answer for this anyway. Because, I want to check something here. Yep. Final fragment was found in the safe. When the officer found Lana there, apparently she'd already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Don't believe a word of it. And it's very clear that you're lying here. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim that you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example.
That's the blue badger you showed us earlier.
A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk.
It was found where?
You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation.
Chief Guard, what is the meaning of this?
Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy.
So you admit it then? That you were involved in the forgery?
Who, me?
Oh, do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that?
Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do it too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not every detectives are exempt from the law. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment.
What? If Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work.
Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence you found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene.
My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Very well.
Evidence and forgery, huh?
Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way.
That's a damn lie and you know it. That's a damn lie and you know it. That's a lie.
Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor?
When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol.
You understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences.
Oh, indeed. I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again.
My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know.
All right, Archie. I'll return, though.
I know. That place, right?
Huh? What are these guys, telepathic? You would stand to gain from this. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. I can press that, but that gets us nowhere. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. Yep, neither can I. If they were found after Dark was convicted, they're worthless. Yep, fair enough. I can't back down on that. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. That is a lie, and you damn well know it. By convicting Dark, you then were able to push for Lana. By convicting Dark, you were able to not only help with the forgery, secure your seat as Chief of Police, which is a huge position of power. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember?
Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye.
Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Yes, it would. Really, Chief Khan? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all of this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have, Chief of Police. Yeah, Chief of Police is a pretty big one.
Oh!
The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Damn it! Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might end up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one other possible motive for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do so for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly with me. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Aji, would you mind if I change my testimony a little?
By all means, please do.
I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing for me in it. Yeah, figured, huh? Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? Oh, if you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there really have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Yeah, he would have. Of course he would have. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone.
Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand.
That's not what I meant, Your Honor.
Very well then. Who is the person you believe Chief Gant may have helped to forge evidence?
That would be Lana Skye.
Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant?
I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances.
Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? As for Chief Gaunt, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit.
Self-profit? What do you mean?
After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gaunt.
But how would he profit from all of this, sir?
He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations.
Do you mean to tell me that, despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppet... No, wait, no. You must have mean puppet as in someone being forced to do the bidding. Never mind.
Admit it, Chief! You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her.
Righto, my boy. You have quite the imagination. Let me ask you something.
What?
Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing?
Lana... She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gaunt.
I am afraid without any proof, this is all amounts to nothing more than a mere conjecture.
Unless that is also what happened in this incident.
This incident? Which one would that be?
Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her.
Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt.
Just what do you mean?
What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gaunt is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement.
What?
Yep. This is going...
Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious.
Huh?
This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in the entire law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder.
Lucas, salutations. We're exposing corruption within the police. I mean, it's fairly easy to do, but we're doing it.
That is impossible.
No, Your Honor, it's quite clearly possible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in an easier-to-understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this.
Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder?
Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gaunt is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell.
I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties you to the murder.
Well, that's easy then. That's very easy. The one thing that he's involved with was this. He asked Edgeworth to bring that there, right?
Well, Chief?
So long as Righto here is tossing out things regardless of their relevance, mind if I toss something out too, Aji? This shoe should do nicely. I'll chuck it right at you.
You always were quite the joker, weren't you?
Oops. Looks like I might have presented something. Got that one wrong.
Don't oops me. Maybe this boot to the head will knock some sense into you.
Okay, never mind. Fine. I know it's hard with all that's gone on during this trial, but try to think back to what happened in the evidence room 4 days ago. Oh, okay. Now that he mentions, we did find something in yesterday's investigation. Yep. Oh! Looks like he wants another one of your boots, RG. Yes.
I see. All right, then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good.
Yes. All right. Yeah. No. I do find it funny how Edgeworth is like, the evidence room that occurred 4 days ago. Look at that, Mr. Wright. Look in there and find that evidence. If only we had some way to know who went into the evidence room. Mr. Wright.
Is this the ID card list?
Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list that we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7 sevens. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number.
What? How did you know that?
The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code.
7 digits? You don't mean...
I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7 sevens. The same as the remaining ID number on that list. Chief Gant! You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime!
Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say?
Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulation, and I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card.
Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime?
What about it? I'm the chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. It is. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman.
What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt.
No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting?
In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim met with Chief Gant on the day of the crime.
Very easily, Your Honor. Very easily. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed out this lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure that he filled it. Or filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day.
He needed to?
Yes, to transfer the evidence out.
Oh.
Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room together. Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman.
Exactly.
But wait, the chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card.
Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body.
No! Chief Gant, you didn't!
The murderer was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana Skye at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you! Take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought this was a useless clue just taking up space.
How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence, sir.
To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. An innocuous screwdriver. How's this? This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body.
What's that? A screwdriver? But what does this have to do with this case?
Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go, by Chief Gant no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened here. The body was moved by that car!
Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car?
Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body of your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye!
Order! 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 What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations?
Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photograph of the body being stuffed into the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk.
Chief Guard, please say something.
I believe your time's up.
My time's up?
Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now.
What? This is not a right so casually invocable. there are certain risks to be considered.
So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you have any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show me your proof and get it over with.
I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gaunt is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor?
Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gaunt murdered Detective Goodman and made Mr. Sky dispose of his body?
I have nothing for that. Nope, not yet. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor, at present, I have no conclusive evidence. Ha! See, Archie?
In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief.
What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Archie, I'll leave the rest to you. There was nothing we could do at that point. There was no evidence we had that we could present.
I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to the senior officer of our nation's law enforcement agency.
Lady Luck. Maybe we should have a word with her.
Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean?
There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth? Another witness? In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gaunt has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room.
Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person?
Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today.
Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist?
She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth the one person we have not heard from. The other person in the case of this blackmailing. The blackmailed Lana Sky.
The defendant? Miss Lana Sky?
She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body, in accordance with a certain someone's orders.
Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor.
Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now
Hold on.
Huh? Chief Gaunt, I thought you were going to eat.
Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana? I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Oh, this isn't good. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. All right, then. I've got a lunch date to meet. $2.
Was it just me, or was that very weird? No, just me. Okay, well, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess.
Looks like we've managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. Creatures, who would you choose? Any of the criminals? None? That's not really a question. No. No, not really, no. No, it's not like... You had to spend it with any one of them. Let's see. So you've got Frank Sorwit, a burglar turned murderer on the spur of the moment. We have, let's see, who else was it? There's, we have, Mr. Red White from Blue Corporation, a, absolute piece of shit, so no. The third case, we have, Divasquez, a member of the Mafia. No, not really, you could do without that side of things. Case 4, we have Prosecutor Von Karma. Nah, don't really feel like sitting with an egomaniac whose entire thing is spending 40 years being a perfectionist. Doesn't really feel that good. We're far too busy to spend a day with these people, so it just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. That chief, he's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe? I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry about it. I've already decided where to work now. It's your office, pal.
My office?
Sure. I'll take the plant that used the top-knotted... I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with.
Could you mean Maya? Oh boy.
Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Cat's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand?
It's not fair. He has the right to refuse to testify.
Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said?
But Chief, it's not right to be used so casually.
What are these consequences then? Risks? What did he mean by that?
It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true.
You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Emma? Emma! Are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery, though. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma? I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved.
Relieved?
Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. I think all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me.
Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier for her that way. What do you mean by that, pal?
What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gaunt's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside, to force herself to do anything and everything the Chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal.
Chief Gaunt may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see.
Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act.
Emma, why didn't you wait here? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth.
Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this.
You know what, Edgeworth? You are absolutely right. It is very much indeed time to end this. Would you just look at that? It's like we're on the same page or something. Yes, that is going to be where we go ahead and end things off for today. So we're going to go ahead, save that, and then next time, We've got to put one man behind bars. We have everything worked out. We just need to go ahead and prove it. But, like we said, that is for next time. For now, things end off here. Thank you very much for watching. We have been Ultrasonic Blur. You have been a fantastic audience, and we hope we will see you for the next broadcast. But until then, take care.